I realized India is the diabetes capital of the world, lifestyle disease capital of the world, and fundamentally it traces back to the fact that we under-index on protein and over-index on carbohydrates. In Amazon, you cannot sell something for under, anything below 400 rupees is your loss making. So you have to sell food products above 400 rupees on an app. Usually, if a brand has to be part of the everyday or regular pantry, then the only way is taste and texture. Health benefits is a distant third. While Low Foods is the parent brand, our main brand now is actually Protein Chef, and that's really now become the second most followed health food brand in India as well.
This is the Digital Shelf Insider podcast of Matrix Card. I do spend a lot of time talking to brand builders across categories, but there's one tension I keep coming back to in Indian food and nutrition. On one hand, consumers say they want healthier choices. On the other, there's taste, habit, and price that still decide what actually makes it to the plate. So the real question is, how do you build a food brand that fits into everyday Indian diet without becoming a niche, a fad, or a compromise? Today's episode is for founders, operators, and category leaders who are trying to build real businesses in functional food. People who are thinking about repeat purchase, supply chain, margins, and scale. We are going to talk about what it actually takes to create a new food category in India. Welcome to the Digital Shelf Insider podcast. I am joined by Sudarshan Gangrade, the founder of Low Foods, a brand many people know for low-carb alternatives. Sudarshan has been in the trenches of building a functional food brand in India, figuring out taste versus macros, demand versus education, and growth versus quality. I'm excited to unpack what's worked, what didn't, and what most people underestimate when they're trying to build a better for you food at scale. So let's get started. Hi, Sudarshan. Welcome to the podcast. Thank you so much for taking out the time to join me. How are you doing today?
All well, all well. Thank you for having me over, and I'll hopefully be able to answer some of the questions that you have in mind.
Yeah, I'm excited too. So the first question is obvious. I want to know, what is the origin of Low Foods and what was the kind of unmet problem you were trying to solve when you started back then?
So the origin is, I mean, obviously, origin story is very long, but specifically, Low Foods is, I realized India is the diabetes capital of the world, lifestyle disease capital of the world, and fundamentally, it traces back to the fact that we under-index on protein and over-index on carbohydrates.
Yeah.
So the idea was to create a functional food range to address the specific lifestyle issues that India has, and through them be able to impact the health of 100 million Indians.
Nice. So when you started out, what did the early customer feedback look like? Because I was hearing an episode with the Indie Wild founder Deepa Khosla, and she shared that she used to get on calls with focus groups. Like she used to do 60 calls in a day and try to understand the problems and challenges that their potential consumers are facing. So what did it look like for Low Foods?
So before I started Low Foods, I was for about a couple of years running my another startup that was in the whole diet fat loss consultation space. And as part of that, for all so in that sense, my focus group and customer immersion happened for 1.5 2 years. So before I decided to get into this, so I had a fair bit of idea in terms of what the consumer issues are, what are the market gaps, and what is actual consumer behavior, and so it was far more clearer to me in terms of what we were looking to start.
Nice. Now, if we look at the supply side, chain side of things, what did like the hardest part of scaling low carb foods in India look like? Like, is it the ingredient consistency or the taste consistency, shelf life? Like, what did it revolve around mostly?
See, what you're talking about ingredient and that consistency, that's more in terms of the formulation. That's when you're starting off, right? When you want to scale a business, then the biggest challenges usually are around customer acquisition costs, and second is distribution channels. So
Yeah.
usually, these two end up being the primary places where we have scaling takes up a lot of time, money, and effort.
Right. And what does the product philosophy look like? Like, if it could be just three non-negotiables in your list.
No, usually all our products are, like I said, either or low carb, high on protein, and generally, I think that biggest non-negotiable is that they should have a direct, measurable impact on the human body. I think we are very particular that whatever we consume should be having a direct impact, not a generic healthier for you that has really no way of measuring impact.
Makes sense. So when there are incumbents, those who start out early, and what are the things that they get wrong when they try to be healthy or functional food in India?
I think there are two levels at which things typically go off track. One would be in terms of understanding the consumer, in terms of what are they saying versus what are they actually wanting or willing to pay for. Usually, there's a big difference between them.
Right.
Uh, and the second is at the founder's end, which is, we tend to be over optimistic and often we tend to mix niche trends with large market sizes. So, it's important that when you're building something that the market size should be large enough or definitely be growing at a very very fast pace.
Right.
Otherwise, then you end up building something, but it ends up being for a very very small audience.
Yeah. And when we get into the marketplace side of things, like we have to have our products on digital commerce platforms too. So how do you decide which SKUs are D2C first or marketplace first or offline first?
See, I think the key thing is that marketplaces is where the customer is, right? Primarily. So you definitely want your bestsellers to be on marketplaces because that's where they are most frequently searching, and that's where you have the largest audience size available. Right? So bestsellers be there obviously depending on the economics of the platform. Then of course the size or the price and the pack size, those things will matter. But usually you want your bestsellers to be sitting in the marketplaces as well. On your own website, you can have products you know, that are more niche but more specific to you. And again, it depends on how important is your own channel website for you. But that's usually something which is a very individual business call. But bestsellers, it's best to keep them on the marketplaces also.
Makes sense. So do you think a strategy or a pack variation that works on Amazon works offline, or like it needs to be strategized correctly, like the kind of bundling that needs to be done?
I think it's very category dependent. So obviously, if yeah, a fashion apparel or a cosmetic which is there on Amazon and which will work as well on offline also, if it's doing well, it's a good product. In food, that doesn't happen because in Amazon you cannot sell something for under anything below 400 rupees is your loss making. So you have to sell food products above 400 rupees on an app usually. Um, and food is usually, at least trial always happens at below 100 rupees price point. So in food, particularly Amazon versus quick commerce, the SKUs usually the mix is very different.
Right. We need to talk about quick commerce definitely because it's evolving in India like crazy. So, what products do you see work best on quick commerce for you? Is it like impulse snacks or planned staples like flour?
I think the quick commerce started off, and most of it is still driven around impulse or quick refill occasion. So uh, typically, snacking or impulse indulgences usually work best on them. But having said that, now it's become a core habit for most people.
Yeah.
So even staples are doing well in particularly staples like milk, bread, eggs, all of that.
Yeah. So what's that quick commerce operating challenge that you face? Is it like around the fill rate or the dark store availability, assortment limits? How does that pan out?
It's at all levels. So,
Yeah.
BigCommerce is a such a dynamic and such a fast moving space that it's always it's a constant challenge. So again, when you're starting off, there is a different set of challenges when you're already live, it's a different challenges, and when you've scaled, it is a very different set of challenges. But these things which are hygiene related have fill rates, inventory availability. These are all hygiene and a constant battle.
Right. I would also like to understand a little bit about the consumer behavior, especially the Indian consumer behavior around functional food brand like Low Foods. So, what are the top three consumer motivations that you see today? Is it weight loss or diabetes control, fitness, protein? I think your brand caters to all of these groups together.
Yeah. So I think the two large mega health trends are increased protein and decreased sugar. So I think that's something which I think is not just in India, it's globally there as a trend. So in general, I think these two are fairly now very large trends. People are trying to increase protein and people are trying to reduce sugar or eliminate sugar. I think these two would be the massive mega trends. After that, you have smaller trends like say gluten free or vegan or low carb and other trends as well. But I think the increased protein and reduced sugar are the biggest trends, health trends in India.
Right. Do you see taste as an attribute play into this area? Because I remember speaking to one of the protein snack brand some time ago, and they shared that, taste is a big factor that drives the Indian consumer mindset when it comes to healthy for you brands.
Uh, Taste and texture both.
Yeah.
Frankly, that's the only thing. Everything else healthy is like that's extra bonus that you're giving to the consumer. For the consumer and case of food, taste and texture is finally the only thing that matters to them from a usage on a regular basis perspective. One off to theek hai, they can always try that one off. But if a brand has to be part of the everyday or regular pantry, then the only way is taste and texture. Health benefits is a distant third.
Yeah. Uh, and what is the repeat purchase story like around the SKUs that your brand caters to? Like, what products do you see has the strongest, okay, let's buy this again behavior among consumers?
No, I think that's not category or product dependent. It's purely in terms of that category. Bread or milk is daily use category, right? And say, snacking would be more infrequent. People don't snack on an everyday basis. The same thing. So I think that's very category specific. But usually we've seen something like bread has very high repeat rates. Something like snacking also. The uh, the cookies particularly we've seen have relatively high repeat rates.
Interesting. So if are there any myths around low foods that people have in their mind that, you want to change, or what is it that?
No, I think we're still a relatively small brand. So I think, and so obviously, we're now been there for a long enough time, but I think we're still a very small brand. So I think among the consumers, they've discovered, liked us, and they know what we stand for. I think outside consumers are still discovering us. So I don't think any myths are prevalent as yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the key thing would be that look, we have multiple brands, but now while Low Foods is the parent brand, our main brand now is actually Protein Chef, and that's really
Right.
now become the second most followed health food brand in India as well. So I think Low Foods is now more a mother brand and not the main brands. That's probably one myth.
Nice. And what are the kind of consumer myths that you see across functional food, the different like protein as well as keto? Like, what are the kind of myths that you hear often?
See, this industry is full of all kinds of conversations, and
Yeah.
the thing with this is people feel ki they are right. So
Yeah.
and then when they feel they are right, they feel the other is wrong. So I think this is a conversation that really goes nowhere.
Yeah.
We've just seen that. So the way we look at it is that whatever your belief is, this is our product. This is what it offers. It's tested, it's reliable, and it does what it says. Now, if you believe in that story, great. If you believe that low carb is good for you, then our products are definitely low carb. If you believe that gluten free is good for you, then our products are definitely gluten free. So we don't say that you should go gluten free or you should go low carb. We don't go into that conversation. That's a conversation, and that's something which we let consumers make that choice. Whoever has made that choice, and however they've arrived at that belief system, we make sure our product caters to and delivers what it says it does.
Right. I think it makes a lot of sense in how the state of consumers are right now. They're very informed than before, so they can make their choices than us really pushing and driving them.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
yeah. We've almost come to the end of the episode, and I have this last question for you. What's that one piece of advice that you would like to share with, founders who are building brands similar to Lowfoods?
Uh, it's someone who's starting to think about building it. It is extremely tough. So as glamorous as and as easy or as great it sounds, but it is a very tough journey. But it is also the most rewarding journey that you'll have, even if financially or not. But so obviously you have to be very sure about what you're starting off with and why you're starting off with. Just saying कि startup करना है will not work. You should need to have a larger purpose that drives you to remain, continue to build. The second thing would be what I had spoken about earlier, that make sure that your market size is large enough and there is a consumer side pull also for the category of product that you're looking for.
Definitely. Thank you, Sudarsha, for taking out the time to join me. It was a wonderful conversation with you.
Thank you. The pleasure is mine.